Good morning. My name's Donald Mackay and I'm the leader of UKIP in Scotland. This is what I hope will be the first in a short series of videos dealing with the prospective parliamentary election in Scotland in May 2026. Like me, I suspect the man in the street is tired of politicians. There's plenty of them. They earn too much money, they do very little, they're useless. So many of us in those circumstances choose simply not to bother. We don't vote, we don't pay any attention. And I would politely suggest that's what the politicians want you to do. The Scottish election in 2026, which conceivably could be earlier than that if the budget doesn't pass, is long enough away that nobody's too bothered about it, and that's fair enough. But I was going to suggest, which is the purpose of this video, that there's something that the ordinary man in the street, as it were, can do, and that's to think very carefully about who he votes for. You'll have the usual suspects, of course, and you'll have the regional list, which, God willing, I'll discuss in a future video. But suffice to say that the small parties will mainly contest the regional lists. They're all saying more or less the same thing. They all are trying to stand out for their particular point of view. But UKIP are unique, I would suggest, in that we're the only mainstream party that is committed categorically, without any kind of compromise, if you like, to abolish, get rid of the Holyrood Parliament. No ifs, no buts, no Devo Max, Devo Minuses. It's nonsense. It's populated by people with small minds. They don't run businesses, they don't make profits, they've got a lot of university degrees and media qualifications between them. They don't live in the real world, but they pick up a nice salary, and that's why they're there. It serves no purpose, and we would wish to go back to a pre-1999 position with the old Scottish office at Westminster. The whole concept of a Scottish government is a nonsense. Scotland doesn't need a government, inverted commas. It already has one. It's called the House of Commons. And all the other parties are committed to the continued existence of Holyrood because it's in their interest to do so. So, although we are committed to getting rid of it, we've got one, shall we say, unique feature, I think, that's worthy of consideration. I started off saying that politicians are not very well liked and there's too many of them. Well, perhaps it's not a surprise. If you're elected to the Scottish Parliament, you'll get a salary in excess of £72,000 a year. 72. In addition to that, you've got expenses of varying kinds. And in addition to that, you've got staffing budget of £156,000. That's not bad. You can employ a few acolytes for that, maybe your own spouse for a start. £72,000. For what? The First Minister actually earns more than the Prime Minister. It's a nonsense, £170,000. Where on earth does that come from? So no wonder people want to get into the Scottish Parliament, and no wonder the journalists in Scotland, the Scottish media, are sycophantic and very much support its existence because it keeps them in employment. UKIP will do this. If you elect an UKIP MSP, we will accept 2/3 of that salary, 72,000, which equates to around about 43. The remaining 28 will go to a veterans charity. That's because we want rid of the Parliament. We're standing for a Parliament we want rid of, but we're inviting the disenfranchised, the people who feel despair because government intrudes into every area of their lives all of the time. If you want to make a statement, a UKIP vote is a vote against politicians and against Holyrood. And what we're saying isn't a gimmick. We're quite happy to have this binding in some way. It's our policy for Scotland specifically, but also for the Senedd in Wales, the Northern Irish Stormont, although I think it's doing its best to get rid of itself, the London Assembly, which is a joke. Local government should certainly be strengthened, but we don't need these devolved assemblies, which serves no purpose at all. We'll go into this in more detail, God willing, in future videos, but the point of this one is UKIP, we, if elected, will take 2/3 of the salary, and the other third will go to a veterans charity. I doubt very much that this will happen, but if any other party picks up on this and says we'll do the same, then that's great news. Great news. But we want rid of Parliament, the Holyrood Parliament. We don't need it. It's useless. And we'll elaborate on this if you allow us in future videos. Thank you very much.